Korea has again seen its biggest one-day jump in infections, and Saudi Arabia has stopped travel to religious pilgrimage sites due to fears over the virus. In Europe, Italy's outbreak has worsened, while Romania, Denmark, and Estonia are the latest countries to confirm cases, and Australia is taking emergency measures to stop the disease from spreading.
Streets deserted as infections surge in Italy. Several new cases across Europe. More deaths reported in South Korea. And many global events, from sporting matches to conferences, cancelled. Around the world, preparations are ramping up as fears of the virus turning into a pandemic grow. Australia has kicked off emergency measures.
While the WHO is yet to declare the nature of the coronavirus and its move towards a pandemic phase, we believe that the risk of a global pandemic is very much upon us, and as a result, as a government, we need to take the steps necessary to prepare for such a pandemic.
As the number of cases in the Middle East rise, travel to holy sites in Saudi Arabia has been halted months in advance of the annual Hajj pilgrimage. Even North Korea, yet to report a single case, is taking preventative measures, closing its borders and postponing the new school term. The virus's epicenter in Wuhan in China remains the worst hit. Most of the reported deaths and cases are in the city and the surrounding Hubei province. But as China's infection rates slow, the virus is now spreading faster elsewhere. More and more countries are reporting cases and upping their efforts to contain outbreaks.
As cases outside the epicenter of China's coronavirus outbreak fell to the lowest number in a month. World Health Organization officials say the number of infected people in China has now peaked and leveled off. But beyond China's borders, the virus and concerns over its spread have picked up momentum. There are now confirmed cases in at least 32 countries, but the new cases and deaths in South Korea and Italy raised new alarms today. Over the weekend, shops across South Korea closed their doors and workers disinfected sidewalks. And today, the country announced more than 800 confirmed coronavirus cases. Italy, meanwhile, recorded its 6th coronavirus death over the weekend, making it Europe's hardest hit country. On the highways to Milan, barely any signs of life. Police check the few cars that pass through. Only authorized personnel can pass. Cities across the country are on lockdown.
During when they can sit their exams, many of them were having exams this week and they've all been cancelled. The Italian Prime Minister has said that the towns will remain in lockdown for whatever time is needed.
Across several borders in Iran, the virus has killed at least 12 people. On the streets of Tehran, Iranians wear face masks to prevent the spread of the virus, and officials sanitize public transportation. But today, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom said the virus had not yet reached pandemic levels.
The sudden increase in new cases is certainly very concerning. I have spoken consistently about the need for facts, not fear. Using the word pandemic now does not fit the facts, but it may certainly cause fear. This is not the time to focus on what word we use. That will not prevent a single infection today or save a single life today. This is a time for all countries, communities, families, and individuals to focus on preparing.
Whatever happens, we're totally prepared. We have the best people in the world. You see that from the study. We have the best prepared people, the best people in the world. Congress is willing to give us much more than we're even asking for. That's nice for a change. But we are totally ready, willing, and able. It's a term that we use. It's ready, willing, and able. We have. It's going to be very well under control. Now, it may get bigger. It may get a little bigger. It may not get bigger at all. We'll see what happens. But regardless of what happens, we're totally prepared.
Shopping centres are sanitised in Seoul. Government employees are sterilising public transport as the South Korean government steps up efforts to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Joint military exercises with the United States have been postponed. after an American soldier stationed at a base near Daegu tested positive.
The containment efforts of COVID-19 and the safety of ROK and U.S. service members were prioritized in making this decision.
The largest daily increase in the number of infections has been in Daegu, a city in the southeast, where a church at the centre of the outbreak is located. As the virus spreads, the government has postponed some annual school exams and is asking people to avoid large crowds. Around 40 countries are now restricting travellers from South Korea.
The government feels very sorry that our citizens have gone through the inconvenience in the process of entering foreign countries due to the country's sudden entry restriction measures.
The epicentre of the outbreak, Hubei, remains under lockdown, while cities in the rest of China are slowly returning to work. China reported the lowest death toll in a month on Thursday. The number of infections rose slightly.
The first case happened in China, but that doesn't mean the source is in China. The foreign prediction of when this will be contained says end of May or June. We think it will be the end of April.
But some countries are not taking any risks. Australia has gone one step further than the World Health Organization, declaring the coronavirus a global pandemic and enacting an emergency response plan.
We believe that the risk of a global pandemic is very much upon us, and as a result, as a government, we need to take the steps necessary to prepare for such a pandemic.